All right, let's get this going. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're here. We got episode 2 of the Vigilante book breakdown of Laws of Success. This episode is on a definite chief aim. And again, I like to change the language here. I mean, because back in the 1920s, a definite chief aim was something that they were going to get for sure. It was an attainment. It wasn't just a goal, it was an expectation. And I feel that if we change the words again, it allows us to continue to have that faith in what we're working towards. So a definite attainment is really what I like to call this, because again, you have to expect it. You have to have full faith that you're going to get it, not just something we're aiming at or a goal that we might miss, because we're not going to miss it if you continue to follow these principles that I've been studying, I've been learning and working to apply and teach as well, so that other people can get to where they want to go faster, as I've been able to learn to condense my own time frames. So we'll go ahead and move forward with this here. So first off, here, let me get this. Let's see what we can do here. Let's get this little guy in the corner, and bang. Okay. So nature's laws don't change. Napoleon Hill talks a ton about nature's laws. Ralph Waldo Emerson talks a ton about nature's laws. He has all kinds of different essays on it if you want to dive into that, and they're beautiful. Old school language for sure. Got to read it a couple times to even understand what the hell he's saying, but it's badass if you guys can take the time to decipher it. But he makes a very, very bold claim in chapter 1, Napoleon Hill does. And he says, all successful people must always use these laws in order to succeed, based on all the study that he had done of every successful person that he could get his hands on. And he was able to start seeing that they had a pattern, that each person did certain things in order to help them succeed. And we're going to break down the first one, which again is having the definite chief attainment, a definite attainment in your mind locked in. The lessons can only do us so much good, though. What matters most are the ideas that spring into our mind from the lessons that we work with, and with the value of the lessons that are gained. So, for example, what I mean is the lessons in essence doesn't matter. The knowledge doesn't exactly matter. It's the application of the knowledge that's going to be important, and it's the ideas that spring from these lessons that are going to allow you to start applying them, and that's where the value lies. So make sure you're not so stuck on, man, I got to nail these lessons down. You got to nail down the idea that's going to come from reading, from listening, and involving yourself, immersing yourself in these lessons. Singleness of purpose is essential for success. This magnifying glass picture right here is one of the easiest ways to be able to describe this, where you have all this energy. So basically, you're the sun. You have all this energy. You're the sun. You're dissipating all this energy all over the place. And it could be in life where it's I'm putting energy into my job, I'm putting energy into a female or dating, I'm putting energy into fighting or growing in something else, or I'm putting energy into Netflix, I'm putting energy into video games if they're not paying me, or I'm putting energy into negative thinking or thinking about what others are doing instead of what I'm doing. And as you dissipate that energy, it becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. Now, if you have singleness of purpose, if you're able to focus all that energy, and all the magnifying glass is your definite chief attainment. All that is your exact goal that you are working towards. And once you know what that is, boom, you have your energy, which is you. You can have your magnifying glass, which is your goals that you're going to get, your expectations, not just a wish, not just a hope. And as soon as you can concentrate all of that energy, just like that magnifying glass, it'll start a fire. Before, I mean, the sun could shine on that paper for thousands and thousands of years, and it's not going to start on a fire. But if you focus all that energy into one spot, now you got a fire started. And that's what happens with our goals, is you have to be able to bring in all that energy. So that might mean making some cuts to things that you're doing in life that aren't good. Negative thinking, talking about others, watching too much Netflix, wasting time doing things we're not that are not taking us towards our goals. And taking notes, guys. Taking notes while either listening to this, watching this, reading the book itself. Napoleon Hill talks about you're going to have ideas spring into your mind over and over and over throughout the process. And if you take enough notes and just write these ideas down, by time 3, by time 4 times through the course, you'll have enough ideas to be able to change your life in any direction you would like to. And again, I mean, don't take my word for it. You're going to know this from application. Figure it out. Call me out on my bullshit that's absolutely true, which you'll find if you decide to take notes and you decide to really take this seriously like I have. And it's changed my entire life completely. And if you guys get even half of the results or even close to what we are working towards now as my mastermind group is, then it's going to completely change your life. I can virtually guarantee it. Taking notes while learning this philosophy will allow to keep track of the many ideas that will come into mind, allowing you to transform your life plan within a few times of going through the course. Stay learning or stop growing. Wolf's Law, basically. And we'll break into that in just a second. But humility is a forerunner of success. So until we are humble in our own thoughts, we won't be able to profit from the experience and thoughts of others. So if we're living with pride, we're living with too much ego, we're not going about our lives being open-minded, it's hard to be able to take the gold from each person that are sharing their story with you or that you're studying and analyzing yourself. So the more you know yourself, the more we can know others, and the more we can know others, the more we can profit and gain from those experiences. And I had a conversation earlier today where it's like, instead of going from A to B, if you're already at B, you should be able to help somebody start at B and go to C. But you can tell them and you can guide them, but if they're not ready and they have to start at A and run into a few brick walls to understand, boom, damn, he was right, I should have listened from point B on, then you can only go so far. So you can guide a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Success in life is predicated upon our knowing of men. So in order to know others as they really are, including yourself, like, you got to take real inventory of yourself. You got to give yourself a checkup from the neck up and analyze yourself from a third person view, where I'm looking down on myself and saying, man, who is Teague really? And what is he really doing in his heart of hearts? That's something very interesting that's a very interesting question to ask. But you'll be able to study him through the following. First, posture, how these people walk, body language. Second is going to be tone of voice. So something very, very interesting that I didn't know until probably about 4 years ago is less than 10% of communication between humans is actual words. Everything else communicatively wise is tone and body language. And if you're on the phone, straight tone, less than 10%. It's so interesting because everybody understands this at a simple level. It's like when your mom's when you're in trouble when you're a kid and your mom says, she could say Teague both ways, Teague or Teague. It's like instantly on that it was the same word, but you knew based on the tonality, shit, I might be in trouble. So tonality is so important, and everything else is body language, posture, how they're holding themselves. And something that was an interesting fact is eye contact. So studying people's eye contact as well as your own. Are you nervous to look people in the eyes? Do you look down every time? Are you shifty? Are you scared to look at these people? Is it a lack of confidence? It very well may be. Is it you're hiding something? You're lying? There's possibilities. It does not stack in your favor though if we don't look at people in the eyes. 70% is the magic number. So 70% of the time, if you're making eye contact, you are continuing to gain trust. Less than that, you're losing trust. Such an interesting statistic. Absolutely go do your own research, look it up. It's pretty cool stuff. The use of words, the trend of their words, and the quality of their words. Are these guys basically talking shit on people all day long? Are they talking great about other people all day long? Are they building themselves up? Are they using positive words? Are they using negative words? You'll be able to know internally what these people are thinking based on how they are talking on a consistent basis. And one thing to realize, hurt people hurt people. if that makes any sense. If you can see somebody hurting another with words or hurting another with their actions, 9 times out of 10, man, they are hurting on the inside. And if we can, instead of basically chastising them for it, and we can pity them for it and ask, man, why are these people hurting? It brings in a whole new perspective of these people as we're analyzing not only ourselves, but others around us. Um, Going further, if you can study men and yourself when angry, how do these people act when you're angry? When you're in love? When money's involved? Whoo, that's a big one. You see this all the time when somebody in the family dies and there wasn't a will, and there's a big estate that's supposed to be going to different people in the family. A lot of truth comes out in these people, and they're willing to step on each other's toes sometimes, and it can get pretty ugly when money is involved. So how do people act around you? That's something to be very interested in. And more importantly, how do you act? When eating alone, when riding, when in trouble, when joyful and triumphant, when defeated, when facing catastrophe, are you able to bounce back, or do you wallow in the sadness of that catastrophe? When you're trying to make a good impression, you see a friend trying to make a good impression on a female. How does that you're able to understand a little bit more about yourself during that, because you'll talk about a young man in athletics. If he knows a girl's coming to watch him, all of a sudden he turns into Superman effort, because all of a sudden somebody's watching him there, and he's able to start attacking and start moving forward at a different level than if no female was there, or no when he wasn't trying to impress somebody. Now, this is so important, especially with your mastermind group as you continue to develop. When your people are informed of others' misfortune. So, man, the downfall of somebody. Are you hyped up at somebody's downfall? Or are you like, man, that's unfortunate. How can we help uplift them again? Because if you are hyped up on somebody's downfall, it's hard to be able to say that you don't want somebody to be hyped up when you have a downfall. So again, the golden rule: do unto others as you would want to be done to you. When informed of others' fortune, if somebody in your mastermind starts winning, are you going to be, well, man, you know what? Good for them, but fuck, when's my turn coming? What can how come I didn't get I've been working hard. How come I didn't get mine yet? Or are they like, that's my fucking guy. He's winning, he's balling, and he's a part of my team. I am so proud of him. And you can get the credit. You can get just as good, if not a better feeling, through other people's success than your own, as at least from what I found in my experience through the mastermind we've been building. When losing, are you a sore loser? Can you keep professionalism when you lose? For example, when wrestling, when I did lose, it wasn't too often, but when I did lose, it was very upsetting. But I had to keep my composure temporarily, not always. But as soon as the match was over, boom, I'd go shake the opponent's hand, go shake the opponent's coach's hand, and then I would leave to my own secluded spot to be able to get that frustration and anger out and just let it go. I couldn't do that in front of the crowd, or I'll look like a dumbass. I'll look like I can't handle losing. So keeping the composure. What happens when you guys lose? How do we react? When winning, are they boastful and bragging, or are they confident and humble in an alpha servant leader mentality? When meditating, and then only after you've studied a man in that capacity do we have the right to judge them. Until then, we can't judge someone we don't fully understand. And even then, how can we judge others unless we first judge ourselves? Because what we found is, if we're starting to clean our own cups, everybody else's cups become clean too. The way I look at it is this. One of my business partners' name is Denby, and he's an absolute badass. Kills the game. Everybody in the mastermind does. My guy, the Dominator, he's an absolute monster. Everybody in the group is just killers, but they're alpha servant leaders. They lead their life with love. Now, I could go about two things. We could come to the Greener Grass Juicery, and Demby, he's helping, he's serving all these people, he's building all these people up, he's helping people get their health on the right track. And let's say he went back to the dishes and he put a dish upside down. People do this with their significant others all the time. but I'm just talking about a team here. And I could have two ways to go about it. I could focus on the dish, like, man, you know what? The dish got put upside down. What the hell? What is going? Denby should have known better. I could focus. Man, the dish was upside down. I can focus on that, and I could focus on the negative part about it, or I could put it into real perspective and say, look at all the good Denby's doing. Look how many people he's helping. Look at how many people he's serving. Look at the impact he's making on these other people who needed the guidance. And then instantly, when I'm focusing on the good and I'm not focusing on the negative, and I say, well, maybe I've put a dish wrong upside down sometimes, or maybe I've done something wrong sometimes. Who am I to judge? Who am I to blame? Who am I to be any better than anybody else? If unless Jesus says, unless ye have, correct me if I get the quote wrong, but basically, ye who have not sinned shall cast the first stone, and nobody threw a stone because everybody's imperfect. So are we going to focus on those imperfections and dwell on it and let it fester and grow, or are we going to put it into perspective and focus on the good instead of the negative? We can't judge anybody, guys. They were asking in the book, is this a course on master salesmanship? And the simple answer is absolutely. But what does sales really mean? Because if you put salesmanship, it becomes limited to where, yeah, this might just be a job of sales. And no, life is absolutely sales. You're selling yourself to your mate in life on a daily basis, whether it be your husband, your wife, and you're selling yourself to the team around you by the consistent actions you take. If you're a part of any athletic team, you're selling yourself to the team, showing them that you are consistently getting better and you're reliable. Or you're losing the sale because you're slipping, you're not showing up on time, you're not making it. Maybe you lost a sale with a significant other because you cheated on your wife, or you cheated on a girlfriend or something like that. And sales is life, guys. Everything is sales. Every communicative encounter, every interaction is sales. And what does sales mean to you? ABC, always be closing. Always be closing, no matter what. A lot of salesmen don't know that, and it's so true, because every time you're doing anything, you're closing. You never know when your interview is. Every interaction could be an interview, and you have to sell yourself in that interview to be able to continue to elevate and grow wherever you're looking to go. Something that was interesting is we prefer illusions to realities a lot of the times. So being able to take this course and accept new truths are going to be important. If you can kind of cut off the things that we've already learned in the past and keep an open mind for this entire course, you'll be able to have a whole new arsenal of knowledge. And with that arsenal of knowledge, when you're done, as soon as you're done, you can marry the two of your knowledge and this knowledge. But unless you make room and discard the old knowledge, unless you make room for the new, we won't be able to internalize this as much. So definitely take that into consideration. People, me included, I've had to grow through this. I've had to break through a lot of my own illusions of what I thought the world was. We go through experiences in life, and then we put these glasses on, and these glasses determine how we see the rest of the world. So the fastest way is, let's say, or easiest example I can think of is, let's say a young man's going through some stuff. His girlfriend cheats on him. If that was the case, he has an option now. Boom, he throws on these glasses. All females are cheaters. And so he's going through the world, he's looking at this, and now he's looking for a way to find where, well, she might have been a little shady. What if she was at another guy's house doing this? It's absolutely crazy. You can't continue to wear those glasses. But what's so interesting is people identify their whole life and their whole personality around the glasses that they continue to put on throughout life. So once they have that, it's hard for them to break it, because if they break it, they have to restart at the bottom of, who am I? Oh shit, I thought the world was this way because I was seeing it all this way. And a lot of us live in denial. So if a new idea comes up, even if it's more factual, makes more sense, it's understandable, a lot of people will keep those glasses on to protect themselves because they've spent 10, 20 years in building that identity of who they are with those glasses on. And if those glasses break, it's like, oh shit, who am I? Did I waste 10 to 20 years of my life building this on a wrong thing? Instead of facing that, most people will just literally deny the fact and continue moving along life with those glasses. So shatter your own glasses as fast as you can, because you don't want to get caught 10, 20 years down the line and start denying stuff that could have been better for you. Or if you already have, you're 10, 20 years in on that, break them right now and be open-minded to be able to accept new and better accurate information when it comes along. Being able to learn and then unlearn and then relearn the new way. And he talks about the road of the truth teller. So basically in this book, he's very, very blunt. And um, he's like, this is how it is. In Think and Grow Rich, you have to discover the secret for yourself. In Laws of Success, he says, this is how it is, take it or leave it. There's something interesting about that, though, because he talks about how difficult the road of the truth teller is. You have to either believe them or not believe them. And if people don't believe them and they've built an identity around something that they are not sure is real, they'll basically attack you for it. It's happened in history, time and time and time and time again. Socrates, they didn't like what he was doing. They said he was corrupting the youth for changing the perspective of these young men, and he had to do hemlock, and he died. Christ was crucified. There was multiple other people throughout history that have been basically attacked for telling the truth. It's just like the parent. If the parent tells you the truth, hey, Teague, it's going to be like this. If you go do this certain circumstance, this is going to be your result. Yeah, whatever, mom. And then you go do it and you're like, oh, shit, she was right again. She told me the truth, but I didn't believe it. And I was even spiteful. I'm doing it anyways. It's probably not real. And then it happened. You're like, oh, shit. If you get told the truth, it's a little tougher to accept. But if you discover it for yourself, it's like, now it is true. So just take that into consideration. Again, if you can skip that step and take in new facts and analyze them and say, is this true? Could this possibly be true? In order to skip that run into the brick wall to know, it might save you a decent amount of time, condense a lot of time frames. And then he mentions for every 10 men who are physically lazy, there's 10,000 who are mentally lazy. And a stagnant mind is a breeding place for fear. Action is the only thing that breeds confidence. Action towards the goal is the only thing that continues to build that confidence. It's just like Wolff's Law. Daily, we should be gathering new ideas to add to our arsenal. And in my head, I'm visualizing an asteroid going through space, or a big rock, and it's just boom, as it's going through space, it's accumulating more and more and more and getting bigger. We're doing that daily with information. You're accumulating more and more and more and more each day, every single day, getting better, adding to your conglomerate of information, adding to your arsenal, basically your ammo box, your weapons, your choice of weapons, your arsenal. But action breeds confidence. Wolff's Law, and this is something I learned when I was in sports medicine class, is basically use it or lose it. The muscle, if you're not working out the muscle, the human body is one of the most efficient machines in the entire world. And if you're not using it, if you're not putting stress on it, it's not going to grow, because it costs energy to develop, to grow. But if you're using it, you're using that energy, it's going to grow, it's going to grow, it's going to grow, it's going to get bigger. But let's say you get in an accident and you no longer have access to your legs, the leg muscles atrophy and wither away. It's the exact same with the brain. It's exact same. If you're not consistently challenging your brain, challenging your thoughts, challenging your beliefs, and getting better, you'll atrophy, you'll wither away, and you'll start drifting. And we're going to talk about drifting here in just a minute. It's a terrible, terrible place to be. Again, if you want to dive into Napoleon Hill after the Laws of Success, go check out Outwitting the Devil. It's all about drifting. Let's see. Giving yourself a clean slate. In order to best internalize the principles, we're going to have to forget what we temporarily know and learn with an open mind. And then when the course is complete, like I said, we can marry those. One idea may mean the difference between success and failure. Mark Cuban says this all the time. You only got to get right once. You only got to get right once. You could fail 100 times and boom, you only got to get right once. Look at Thomas Edison, 10,000 reps he got in. 10,000 tries. He failed. He got right once and bang. Look at that. He's a very, very well-known figure in history. I like Tesla a lot. That's a different conversation to get into. But Edison is a very well-known man, and he was able to bring his stuff into market, which is very strategic of him. Now test these lessons out, guys. I mean, I'm just telling you, just like I was told. It's like I didn't believe it at first, but until I discovered it as true, until I ran my head into a brick wall, until I tested it out and was like, oh shit, stuff's happening. I didn't know if I could fully trust it. At the beginning, I didn't have full faith in myself. So I had to have full faith in these lessons, in these laws, that they would work for me. And then as I started testing them out and I discovered them to be true, it gave me more and more faith in myself. And I want to see you have maximum faith in yourself. That's the main goal of this thing right here. But power equals success. I'm just gonna grab water real quick. Power equals success. And let me move this. Oh man, I put my battery in front of the words, but success is the development of power, which one gets whatever one wants in life without interfering with the rights of others. Andrew Carnegie, when Napoleon Hill was asking him about how he was so successful and what his mastermind consisted of, he basically said this: no two minds in the mastermind group are exactly alike, but each man in the group does the thing that he is supposed to do, and he does it better than anyone else in the world could do it. So he put the right people in the right positions and allowed them to flourish. And his job was to keep all of those minds on to the same path, working towards the same goal. His job was the coach. He was the Bill Belichick, or whoever the greatest coach that you guys decide is the greatest coach ever in any athletics. He was that coach, making sure the team was all focused on the end zone, making sure the team was all focused on the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals or whatever it may be. And he is coordinating these people that they are best suited to play their positions towards that same goal. Again, he's not putting the receiver at lineman and the lineman at quarterback. You're not going to get to the end zone. You got to put the quarterback at quarterback, the lineman at lineman, and the receiver at the receiver. So he was able to make sure each person played their position better than anybody else and keep them on that path towards that goal. Inspiring confidence in others is what he did best. And he was able to do this by having complete confidence in himself. Self-confidence chapter is next. So we're going to break into that on how to develop confidence, how to keep it, and how to work with it in the next chapter. And that's next Friday. Organized power, though. Organized power is success. In war, every strategist knows in order to break the whole or to break down the opponent, it's best to split up the whole group and weaken the overall opponent, chipping away, breaking them down in sections instead of the whole thing. Just like the old adage, you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. You are taking it away from different angles. He references the story of 7 brothers who are arguing, and the father gives each brother a stick, or the father gives each brother the whole bundle of 7 sticks. He says, "Hey, break this if you can," and they all try to break it over their knee, and they can't do it. None of them can. They're not strong enough. And then he gives each brother 1 stick. He unties it, gives each brother 1 stick, and he says, "All right, break this stick." Boom. And each one of them can snap the stick over their knee. And they say, and the father said, "Well, this is a great lesson to learn, because together, if you guys are not fighting, if you guys are working in a spirit of harmony, you're tied together and you're working as a unit, you can't be broken. But if you're all split up, it's so much easier to take you guys out one by one, and you're broken." Also, organized power is a great example of a bridge distributing weight. Each beam alone couldn't take the weight, but each beam together distributed as the truck, as the train, as whatever goes across that bridge is heavy, it's going across, the distributed weight amongst everybody allows it to be able to hold that extra amount. So working together in a spirit of harmony, organized power, and it can be super dangerous if not guided with intelligence. If you look at Hitler in World War II, that's a dangerous time. It's like that was organized power. He absolutely got the vision of the people of Germany to say, hey, they felt like they were oppressed. I mean, these guys were wheelbarrowing money around because the inflation was so high. And he got behind the vision and had all these people align in a vision towards, at the time, at the very beginning, creating a better Germany. And then it got so organized that the power was there, and then the morals were not there, and it changed history. And there's a lot of terrible, terrible things that happened in World War II because that organized power was not directed at a successful cause. And again, success is getting whatever you may want in life without violating the rights of others. Without violating the rights of others. This course is going to allow us to identify what we're great at as well as what we enjoy doing so we can begin to be successful. And then he asked the questions, can any man truly be successful at something he doesn't love doing? It's like, yes, he could be materially successful. He could be one of the best in his industry, balling out, tearing it up. Nobody could touch him. But the goal of this course is to marry material gain and prosperity as well as happiness. Because the more, and some people think, man, material gain and things like that, that's not good. That's a bad thing. It's not. The more you have, the more we can give. My cup runneth over. My cup runneth over. And if you don't have any, you can't give any. So we got to get ours in order to be able to provide for the people we want to provide, to champion the causes that we want to champion. Henry Ford's coworker story. This is pretty cool one. Henry Ford was working with a coworker, and they were doing about the same job, according to the book. And 30 years later, that same man, he was better than Henry Ford at that job. He was more skilled. He was a better player in that position. But Henry Ford had a vision, and he had something he was working towards and organizing his power. And at the end of the day, Henry became the world's richest man. And it's not who plays better, it's who sees better the bigger picture. And that was a cool little quote I heard from a buddy of mine who owns a cool real estate company that's doing some big things. But it's truly so true, because the guy was better than Henry Ford at that skill. But Henry Ford had a bigger vision. He had a bigger dream. And he worked to organize it instead of stay drifting in that same position for 30 years. He mentions this. This is so cool. The molders of public opinion. The churches, the schools, the media, and businesses. He says basically all of these influence human beings as a whole. So the entire country, the entire world. And imagine if you could get rid of the negative, because there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of negative in each one of these things. But if you could eliminate the negative and build a process where the leaders of each of these groups were living based on the golden rule, doing unto others as you would like to be done unto yourself, the whole world would change. And like that, within one generation, it would be a whole new world, and everybody would be living more abundantly. But you think, I mean, look into the churches. There's corruption. There's very corruption at the high levels. Schools, same thing. Media controls so much. I mean, especially now where you have targeted ads and you have basically tracking and understanding what people are typing in their computer, and then it just starts popping up. You talk about a golf club, next day you see 30 of that golf club on your Instagram. This stuff influences public opinion. So let's say you have an opinion, and then the organized big tech or big data hear about it, and they start shooting this stuff again, acknowledging that you had a questioning belief, and then they start hitting you. This is why this belief's true. We heard you thinking about it. Boom, here's another propaganda. Next thing you know, you're starting to believe that more and more and more and more. And in essence, it's brainwashing. We can also do this to ourselves in a great way, which I'll talk about here in just a second. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. He mentions this is like a 30-minute YouTube video. You gotta watch this if you never had. It's absolutely beautiful. I was introduced to it from a few friends, and then the second time I was introduced to it was when I was watching some Jordan Belfort trainings before I started rolling over there. And basically, it says 95 out of every 100 people are failures, and 5 out of every 100 are successful. And each one of those 5s had a plan to attain their goals. And most people don't even know what they want in life. They're drifting. It's a terrible thing to be drifting and just letting the wind take you wherever you want to go, when we have the ability to have all this power as a human being to guide our directions. He mentions a concept of a boat. Imagine if you had a boat with no direction. Boom, you put the pedal on the gas and you just go. Eventually it's either going to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere, or it's going to crash. But if you set the sights, if you have a map, you have an end goal, you're trying to take the boat to Spain. He says 99 out of 100 times it's getting to that goal, it's getting to that destination. So being able to have a definite attainment, being able to have a strict expectation that you know you're going to get and that you're going towards is absolutely important. So you're not that boat drifting around and then crashing or winding up somewhere. You're like, what the hell? How did I get lost at sea out here? Because you just let it take you wherever you wanted it to take you. A person, this is where it starts getting badass here, guys. A person's actions are virtually always in harmony with what one thinks about most. So imagine this. A young man, all day long, he's thinking about a woman. What's he going to be doing? He's going to be thinking of ways to entice this woman or get this woman to be attracted to him. Let's say a man is always thinking about athletics. You have Kobe Bryant, you have LeBron James, you have Michael Jordan, you have the greatest of all time. That's all they thought about. Conor McGregor will say it, fighting. He's like, I don't know anything else. All I know is fighting. That's all my time's invested in is fighting. That's all I know. I don't know anything else. And because of that, his actions were in harmony with his thoughts. So every time you're thinking about something, the majority of the time, your steps, your physical body is going to start taking movements towards that. If I'm thinking about fighting all the time, I'm probably going to be watching fighting videos, and then I'm inherently gaining mental reps. I'm getting better. I'm getting practice through my mind of being a better fighter. If all I think about is fighting, I'm probably going to be spending more time in the athletic gym or rolling on the mat or wrestling or practicing my jujitsu. The more I think about something, the more I'm going to take action towards it. This is very interesting, even with pornography. If a young man can be, I was introduced very, very early to pornography, and it was a hard addiction to get out of, because it's like the more you saw it, the more you got desensitized, and the more you're like, man, like I need more of that. I need that dopamine hit. I need that dopamine hit. Because every time you see it, it's drugs. It's dopamine. Just like Instagram, just like Facebook, any TikTok, whatever it may be. Every time you're going through this, it's triggering dopamine. It's a natural drug, so it's absolutely something to consider. Of what are we thinking about all day long? That's one of my favorite questions to ask people. If you had to pick one thing in your life outside of your children, if you have kids, or providing for them, what would be the one thing you think about all day long? And that'll tell me so much about you that you don't even realize. Well, I'll pick you apart. And it's like, is this person somebody we need to be interacting with? But eventually, if you have a deliberate, if you have an exact, definite attainment, you know exactly what you want, and you're thinking about it all the time, you start thinking about it all the time. You start putting it in front of your face, wherever you're going to see it. You start playing music about it. You start talking to people about it. You start sleeping with it, eating with it, breathing with it, thinking about it. You're inherently going to start taking actions toward that, just like you would as the fighting example. And this part of the brain is the reticular activating system, the RAS, or the RAS, they call it. And go look into this. This is a badass system. It basically is the filtration system of the brain, so that you can understand all the information coming in and discard what doesn't matter. You can get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter and focus on where you're going and where you're moving. A great book on the Raz is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Badass book, great understanding of the subconscious. And if you haven't, at least go watch a YouTube video on the understanding of it. They have those the drawing ones that are pretty cool. But selecting your deaf entertainment with care and placing it where you can see it morning and night is so important. If you don't select it with care, just like that boat again, if you don't know your destination for sure, you hope for Spain, but shit, you might land in South Africa. And you're like, what's going on? That's a whole continent below, that's a whole continent away. Because you had it close to the goal, but it wasn't with care. It's like, I want to go in that direction, but it wasn't definite. It wasn't for sure. And it wasn't that expectation. So you might land somewhere else. And then seeing it morning and night is, again, that self-brainwashing. Because whether we like it or not, we're getting brainwashed in some way, form, or another. Whether it be your family telling you something your whole life that may or may not be true, or it may be a media channel telling you your every time you're on Instagram, every time you're on Facebook, that this is how something is, and it becomes more and more true. Something interesting about the subconscious is if you tell it something enough, even a lie, you'll begin to think it's true. Look at, let's see. Bang, right here. Look at Mike Tyson. He talked about Cuz Diamoto, which is basically his mentor. He basically brainwashed Mike Tyson into believing he was the best, he was the killer, he was the monster. And he didn't know how to turn it off because he got told it so much, and he believed it so much he became it. And he was one of the greatest of all time. He was a killer. He just take people out. Self-hypnotism. If you're not hypnotizing yourself, somebody's hypnotizing us for us. I guarantee it. And that's a scary thought. So take this seriously. Take this very, very seriously. How does the media currently do this? We talked about that with the targeted ads, with the things you're thinking about. They're guiding you guys. This is all marketing. This is all business. And if you're not in control of it, and you're not in control of your own business, you're becoming a customer of another business. So be careful, be cautious, and just be aware. It's a great awakening's coming. It's beautiful. Now, we talked about drifting. If we catch ourselves drifting, we must imagine better for ourselves so much that we begin taking action towards those things. So I might be in a job that I hate, but if I'm in that job and I start thinking about where I want to be so much and with such a good positive mental attitude that I can get there, eventually I'm just going to start taking actions unconsciously and getting towards it until eventually the job I'm at sheds right off, just like a snake sheds its skin. As a man thinketh by James Allen talks about that. Eventually, as a man continues to grow, if he outgrows where his environment, the environment pops him out into the next level up. He upgrades, whether he likes it or not, because like attracts like. And we'll break into that a little bit further as well. Oh, right here. Just kidding. Like attracts like, birds of a feather flock together. Whether we wish it or not, we will attract people into our life who harmonize with our own personal philosophies. That's why we have to have a definite goal written out, a definite attainment written out, and thought about as much as you possibly can. So we're bringing those people into our life who assist us and don't bring us down. So like attracts like. When I'm feeling shitty and sad, or something happened and it's easy to be sad, and it's like, I want to be sad because I'm thinking about more sad stuff. And then I go throw on sad music because I want to be sad, even though I hate being sad. And then it's like, you know what? I'm going to the bar because I'm sad and I want to get away from these emotions. And then I go there and there's more sad people trying to act like they're not sad. It's like, what the fuck is going on? You attract where you're going, because as you start thinking of it, you start gravitating towards that area. So it's like, if you switch it, it's like, man, I woke up happy as hell today. And then it's like, I'm happier and I'm happier. And then I go do something that makes me feel better. And then I go work out and that makes me feel better. And then I go read a book and that makes me learn. I felt better because I leveled up. It's like, then all of a sudden you start talking with more people. You see more people at the gym and they're elevating too. You're like, man, you're elevating. I'm going to elevate with you. Oh, you're reading and you're learning. We're bouncing ideas off each other. Now we're elevating together too. It's an interesting thing. And it all starts with how we're thinking. Are you thinking good thoughts, or are you thinking shitty thoughts? Are you thinking productive thoughts, or are you thinking destructive thoughts? Now, this is badass. So, heroes. Why do we have heroes? You have the heroes that you have because there's a piece of that person that's your hero. There's a piece of that person or a quality of that person that's deep inside you that's waiting to be released. That's why you like them. That's why you're attracted to them. Like attracts like. Now, Napoleon Hill, he had what was called an invisible council. And he, in his mind, in his imagination, Marcus Aurelius, the last great Roman emperor, he talks about retreating into his own mind at any given time if anything outside his world was going wrong, going negative. Napoleon Hill would imagine a council table, and he would place at it all of his heroes, and he would place only the qualities that he wanted that they had at the council table. So he got rid of all the negatives, brought all the positives, and they're all sitting there in their elite versions of themselves. So he put Abraham Lincoln down there, he put Washington on there, he put Napoleon Bonaparte on there, and he put Andrew Carnegie, and he put a few other people in his council table. You can put whoever you want in there. I don't even have a council table. I'm on my own island talking to the people that I'm talking to. And if you guys want to know who is in my invisible council, feel free to reach out and ask at any given time. Text, message, comment down below, and I'll drop some names there. But as you continue to retreat into your own mind and imagine these people, you can come with a problem to this imaginary place, in essence, which may not be so imaginary, which is some quantum physics crazy stuff. But you can retreat into your own mind, and you can go into that own place and ask for guidance from the essence. And obviously, number one guidance is always from Big G, the man upstairs. But to be able to put this into a personification and put this into a picture that we can understand, it's easy to be able to retreat there, find the people, take the good, and eventually they start giving you all that good advice. You become a conglomerate. You become the composite. You become the addition, or each good quality of all those people, until eventually you become you. Floyd Mayweather says in one of his speeches, he's like, some days I wanted to be a killer like Mike Tyson. Some days I wanted to be the greatest like Muhammad Ali. Some days I wanted to move like Sugar Ray. And he said, what I did is I put them all in a box. I shook it up, opened it up, and Floyd Mayweather came out. And that's what we're doing here, is we're taking all the gold from each person and discarding the negatives. And I hope you guys do the same with me. Take the gold from me and discard the negatives that don't resonate with you. That's absolutely fine. Undesirable circumstances can't hold someone back who knows how to use auto-suggestion. Nelson Mandela, he said he was either going to die in prison or he was going to get out and rule the country. And he continuously said that to himself over and over, and imagined it and imagined it and imagined it, getting out and ruling the country or dying there. There was no other options. Those are the only two scenarios playing out in his head. And eventually what happened? If you don't know, go do some research on Nelson Mandela. But he used the power of his mind. There's many, many other people. Napoleon Hill references asking Henry Ford. He's like, Henry, is there anything in the world that you can't get, that you can acquire? And Henry said, no, I can get anything I want in this world. And then he said, well, let me qualify what I just said. I could get anything I want in this world after I learned how to use my mind. Before I understood how to use my mind and use auto-suggestion or self-hypnotism or self-repetition or self-talk, he said, I don't know if I could. But once he understood how to utilize the power of his mind and understand these goals, and which goal is a tough word in 2020 because people don't hit their goals. But back then, a goal was an expectation. And then knowing where you are going is so important. Because if you know where you're going, if you have a cause of where you're going and why you're going there, then others will both be able to assist you and they'll want to follow you. Because there's a lot of people who don't have their own cause. But when they see that you have a cause and it resonates with them, they'll bend over backwards to help you in attaining that because they get the same value of you achieving it as them, which is such a big win. He says, imagine a house being built without blueprints. That's the same to a life being developed without plans. It's like, shit, you don't know what you're getting. You better hope for the best, but it's probably not going to be the best house. You know, you walk into the bathroom, you take a seat in the tub, and then the floor falls through because nobody did the framing correctly. It's like, what is going on? You have to have plans. You have to have exact understanding of the layout of what you want to build, whether it be a house or whether it be your business or your goals. And until we select a definite purpose or a definite attainment, we are the unfocused magnifying glass. Again, we're the sun. We got the energy, we got the dissipating energy, but we're not focused. So it's going everywhere. And you're doing 30 different things at one time, nothing ever gets done. A quarter of my energy is going into the relationship. That's not successful because only a quarter energy is going into it. A quarter energy is going into developing myself, and that's not successful because only a quarter energy is going into it. It's like it has to be singled out purpose. It has to be singled in, dialed in to where all that energy is in one thing. Even if you have to do one thing at a time, start it, finish it, start it, finish it, start it, finish it. You'll accomplish more than you can imagine. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. Allied effort is what creates organized power. So, and again, organized power is success, but allied effort, teamwork makes the dream work. I can't get to the end zone with my football team if I don't have a quarterback handing off the football or throwing the ball. I could have every other person on the team, but unless the quarterback's there, it ain't going to work. So get your team. And clarity is so essential. We're talking about a definite goal, a definite expectation, a definite aim, a definite attainment. And if you don't have clarity, you don't, again, it's just like that boat. You don't know if you're going to land there. Diamonds are valued based on clarity. The clearer the diamond, the more valuable it's worth. And it's the same with a plan. You can become your own diamond. At first, you start off as and I used to say it was a lump of coal, but I believe it's carbon. And it's a dark matter rock though. And eventually through pressure, through heat, through pressure, it becomes clearer, and a diamond is created. You got to be that diamond. You got to go under the pressure. And wanting money is not enough. It's like wishing for money is not enough. It's like, I'm going to be a billionaire. Well, that's great. How? You got to have a plan, a method of how to accumulate the money. And more importantly than that, what value you're going to provide in order to gain and earn that money. If you want $1 billion, you got to render $1 billion worth of service. Having a definite attainment will allow you to make quick and accurate decisions towards your goals without hesitating. And I find this through life all the time. I have a lot of people who I analyze and they don't know decisions. They'll walk into a store, well, maybe I should get A, maybe I should get B. Well, what about C? Shit, D looks really good over there, and F looks great. You know, E looks amazing. It's like all these options look amazing. Nobody can make a decision, so nothing ever gets done. But if you know exactly the end goal, it's just like let's see. I just don't want to talk about this ahead of time. You know what? Fuck it. It's just like the end goal, but you have to be able to adjust towards it. So you're a rocket ship. It doesn't just go straight to the moon. It's continuously adjusting, left, right, all the way to its goal. So being able to know where you're going allows you to adjust faster instead of you're just wasting time now. You're going back and forth instead of going straight towards the goal. And what is the shortest distance between any 2 points? It's a straight line. It's a straight goddamn line. And if you can get on that line and eliminate all the wasted decisions that don't even matter, you can get to that goal faster. And ultimately, that's the goal, is to attain what we want to attain as fast as possible. Only if we're not violating the rights of other men. That's what success is. Concentrating on what you want is so important. Clarity, clarity. You're living with it. You're eating with it. You're breathing with it. You're sleeping with it. Over and over and over and over and over. Dominating the mind. Filling it with your goals. Filling it with your dream. Filling it with your dream. Filling it with your dream. There's no end to it. It does not stop. Because as soon as you go somewhere else and they have doubts in themselves, and then they start talking about them doubts, they start bringing your energy down. And unless you go recharge yourself, next thing you know, you start doubting, losing a little faith. So you got to be able to have that concentration. You got to know exactly where you're going. Elon concentrated on space. Look, now he's rocking SpaceX. Now he's doing some major things with that. He wants to put people on Mars, and he started changing the whole game. NASA wasn't even doing so. I don't know if NASA's a space agency or not, but NASA wasn't even doing anything at the time. And then SpaceX starts rolling, and next thing you know, Bezos wants in the space race. Boeing wants a part of it. NASA wants a part of it, and now they all have to be a part of the same thing, which is there's a lot of stuff there. I won't dive too deep. Rockefeller, he studied all about oil. He focused and concentrated on oil. It doesn't matter what you concentrate on or what you focus on. Just decide what's your passion, what do you love, what makes you happy, as well as can get you material gain and prosperity to help others. Carnegie focused on the steel industry. He didn't even know too much about steel, is what I'm finding out. But the people his team was an all-star team, and they were killing the game. And that's all he had to do was be the coach. All he had to do was guide these people in the correct direction, make sure they were all working in harmony to be able to gain there. And then Bezos focused on customer service. Look, you can get any package pretty much in 2 days now, all over, and he's already took over the entire industry. This man got a divorce and lost multiple billions of dollars, and he's still the richest man in the world. It's like that's pretty nuts. So it's something to think about that others are concentrated on poverty and failure a lot. How am I going to afford that? Or, man, this money isn't here. What do I do? And the more they concentrate on it, the more they get it, the more attainment there is. And they attain poverty and they attain more failure. And then they're like, what the hell? Why is this happening? Because they're concentrating on it. What do you do best? You got to find out what position you play. Are you the quarterback? Are you the receiver? Are you the lineman? Are you the running back? You got to find out so that you're not playing the wrong position and hindering yourself and the team. What's your strengths? What do you do best that you do better than anybody else in the world? And if not, what do you do really great that you can become the best in the world? Because people pay big money for specialized knowledge. For example, if you ever watched Grey's Anatomy, they're like, hey, the best surgeons in the world get paid the most because only a select few people can do what that person can do. The more valuable you are, you're the best of the best. You'll be called upon from all walks of life to be able to do what you do. You have to have a burning desire back of your definite attainment. Just wanting things and imagining is not good enough. We got to want it and imagine it so much that we must take action towards the goals with full faith and effort. We are the architects of our own life. And the beauty of it is we're in the age of information, guys. This allows us to become anything we want. We can learn any skill we want right now. If you want to find it with the use of the internet, with the use of the technology we have, you can do anything. I watched a YouTube video of a mom that got divorced who had 5 kids, and she built her own house all by herself from watching other YouTube videos. A single mom of 5, like this is Wonder Woman, this is Superwoman over here, because she just watched videos and she learned. Take the time to work out the mind, to grow the mind, to develop the mind and develop yourself. Impossible can't exist in our minds. It's all an illusion. Napoleon Hill, it was when same thing, he asked Henry Ford of, hey, can you get anything you want? He's like, yeah, once I learned how to use my mind, absolutely. And he asked him, well, how do you overcome obstacles if there's an obstacle in front of you? He said, imagine this. He says, the obstacle is the river. And if I ever see a river coming up far ahead, It's like, all I'm going to do is focus on one step forward, one step forward, one step forward. What can I control right now that's going to assist in getting me over there? And he said every time he focused on that, on controlling what he can control now and not on the obstacle, by the time he reached the river, by the time he reached the obstacle, it had dried up. The obstacle disappeared and he could walk right across. Control what you can control. In order to have the plan, you got to know who. Obviously, it's us, it's me, it's you. You got to know what you want, when you want it, why you want it, because shit's going to get hard. And if shit gets hard and you don't know why you're doing it, you're like, I'm out. But if you know why you're doing it, you can embrace the grind and move forward and pass it. It's like wrestling. It's like, man, you're going through conditioning. It's like, this sucks. This sucks. I can't breathe. My lungs are going to blow out. My heart's going to pop out of my chest. I am huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf. Why am I doing this? Well, I want to be a state champ. Well, I want to be a national champ. Well, I want to be a D1 college wrestler. That why is going to push you through that hard time that everybody's going to go through and grow through. And how are you going to do it? You got to have a plan in order to do it. And once you know the goal, you can reverse engineer it. Then you can guide yourself to that point. It's as simple as people losing weight. Let's say, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds. You can scientifically dial that in. Well, so many calories per week is going to allot me this much amount of weight. So it's like you cut your calories or you adjust your calories or you adjust the body stuff. You can scientifically reverse engineer how you're going to get to that weight. And here's your diet, and then here's your workouts to go along with the diet to make sure you're burning enough calories, building enough muscle, getting the results you want. It's all scientific. That's all we got to do is get the end goal first, and then we can start creating our map towards that end goal. Each ingredient counts, though. He talks about in the laws of success how you got to take every lesson as is. You can't just give some and take some. It would be like baking a cake without sugar. It's going to taste shitty. It's not going to work. The results aren't going to be there. You got to do it exactly how it's been laid out. This man spent 25 years with some of the wealthiest people in the entire world on a family and friend basis, seeing these guys in their homes a lot of the times and watching how they grew and watching how they attained what they attained. So we got to write out, again, clarity, 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 clarity. Write out a clear plan of your definite attainment and then form a team to support these plans with only people who have your best interest at heart. Only people who have your best interests at heart. And you might not know at the beginning. You might think they have your best interests at heart, and then you find out later they don't. You got to remove them, replace them as fast as possible if you find that out. And that's not always a bad thing. If you have a significant other, if you're married or if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is, that significant other must be in your mastermind in order to maximize results. Just go look at how D. Devlin affected Conor McGregor and his come up. I tell you what, I'm so excited to when I find my D. Devlin, because even Napoleon Hill said Henry Ford's wife was more of the reason of his success than Henry himself, because a woman can make or break a man in his work. And a work is not a job. It's his purpose, his life purpose. A man's purpose is to do his work in life. And a woman can either accelerate him at light speed or hold him back like he's pressing the gas and she's pressing the brakes. Eventually the car's gonna not be doing too well. Have the team. This is something I didn't realize. Like, I've read this book a decent amount of time, and I must have skipped past. I didn't skip past it, but my brain wasn't ready to receive it. And it says, have the team tell you, as well as you tell the team, that you're going to accomplish the goals as an individual and as a unit. So much that everyone has full faith in its attainment. Everybody knows that you believe it, and everybody's beginning to believe it because you're consistently letting them know. Changes. We always got to make changes. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Always. If a better and a faster plan comes about to be able to get to your goal, adopt it immediately. Here's that rocket ship example I didn't want to talk about earlier. So we're just going to double talk about it. If you're going off and you're on a 45-degree angle and all of a sudden headquarters says, hey, Teague, if you switch directions, come to a different angle, you'll get there faster. You better adopt it to be able to get there faster. The plans that we start off with don't always have to be perfect. They just have to be getting us in the general direction. As we start moving in that direction, it'll allow us to see better ways to get there quicker. Now, if a member of the mastermind loses faith, you got to cut them, whether you like it or not. Immediately remove them and replace them. Andrew Carnegie said one negative mind would impact the whole group and change the dynamic of the team. And it's like every like new in-laws, if you don't have a great relationship with your in-laws, it's like when you get around that group, it changes how they act. It's a little different. So something to take into consideration. If somebody's losing faith or somebody is not a good fit for the mastermind, they got to be removed and replaced. We cannot succeed with disloyal or unfriendly associates. You got to live by loyalty, honesty, integrity, and teamwork. And then obviously the big G, the man upstairs, being the force back of this to be able to supercharge everybody's batteries. But loyalty, guys, you got to be able to, in the military, they say, hey, I got your six, I got your back. You got to know that that person is defending you and you got theirs just as much, being able to protect them and make sure no matter what happens, you guys got each other's backs. Somebody comes and offers you a bigger and better and quicker deal. If it breaks loyalty, I promise it's not going to be worth it in the long run. You could have got tenfold of what that quick, easy offer was if you would have just stuck true to your guns, stayed true to your morals and your principles. Faith, sincerity in loving others, guys. Here's the golden rule again. Being sincere in all that you do for others. It's a game changer. There was I bought a vehicle and there was a guy, he was super cool. He sold me a car and then I came for a service and I found out, I started going talking to him and he's like, man, you know what? That's great. You know, yeah. It's like, he wasn't even hearing me. It's like, why'd you come up to me and talk to me if you weren't going to listen to what the hell I was saying? It's like, don't waste my time. That's the only valuable thing I have. It's like, if you're not invested or you're not interested in the conversation with me, don't come talk to me. And so ever since then, it's like, I'll never buy a car from him again. It's not that he's a bad guy. He just lost the sincerity. So the credibility with me dropped. And that happens all day long. So are you being sincere? Because again, we never know when our interview is. Other forces, perfect. We went over that. And if we fail, it's because a member of the team didn't enter the mastermind with the above qualities. They might have been lacking loyalty. Look at Judas. You know, he lacked loyalty and the mastermind broke. Look at was it Bruno and Caesar? Brutus. It might have been Brutus. Wow, I should know his name. Yeah, everybody else is gonna know his name, but I hope you get a good laugh out of that because basically loyalty again got Caesar killed. It's like there's so many different things where loyalty is so important. If somebody didn't have faith, somebody's just doubting the whole time. You have a group, yeah, we want to achieve this goal, and then there's that one guy, you can't do it. That ain't possible. That can't happen. It's like, fuck, like that guy will bring everybody down. Sincerity and teamwork. If somebody doesn't want to work as a team, they want all the gold for themselves. They want the pride for themselves. I'm the guy. Check me out. I'm the dude. It ain't going to last forever. Give credit and loyalty where credit and loyalty is due. And then this Napoleon Hill, he's talking again about sleeping with your definite attainment, dreaming with it, dominating the mind with it, filling your mind over and over and over and over with it. And I just couldn't get this old 50 Cent song where he's talking about his gun. He's like, my buddy, wherever I go, he goes. And that's how your definite attainment should be. Wherever you're going, he's going with you, no matter what. It's simple. Your definite attainment should be with you and in your mind at all times, like 50 Cent always had his gun on him, according to the My Buddy song. If you don't like gangster rap, don't listen to it. It's all right. But keep your definite attainment with you. Why definite attainment and not definite purpose in my eyes? Again, because we can't hope, we can't wish. We have to have full faith or it's not going to work for us. Believing is completely different than hoping. Knowing and expecting is different than wishing. And temporary defeat, it doesn't mean anything except to write up a better plan. It's an illusion. And we talked about the river and Henry Ford and walking up to it. But temporary defeat, how are you going to handle it? Are we going to handle it as, man, they got me, I lost, what am I going to do? As soon as you accept that, it's over. But if we can be like, okay, if we look at success as just a problem to be solved, just like you would go into a math problem and be like, oh, you know what, I got that wrong, that formula didn't work. Let's try a new formula. If you just look at success as a problem to be solved instead of what if I get there, what if I don't, it'll change the entire game for you. Next thing you know, you'll be able to continue to write up better plans, to put new formulas into that math equation so that you're able to get that goal. And that's all this is. We're just playing a video game. You're just trying to figure out how to beat the boss. How do you beat the poverty boss? How do you beat the negativity boss, the doubt boss? That's all you're doing. And if you can't beat that boss, guess what you got to do? You got to level up your character. You got to add the skill sets to them. You got to add new combinations to them. You got to go through, get your experience in the game, get your monetary value or your coins or your gold or your stars or whatever you use to level up, and level that guy up. And that's what we're doing through understanding and learning these new things and reading books and surrounding ourselves with the right people and getting clear. It's leveling us up. That way we can overcome these bosses and take care of them and just move forward and consistently be persistent. Never break. I ain't quitting. Just like, dude, I tell you what, in video games, I like them. I don't get too much time to play them. So one day, once I hit that Billy mark and I'm able to serve as many people as I want to serve, I'm going to take like 3 weeks, just like buy every console that was ever made and just go through a video game marathon, just all the games I ever wanted to play. But I don't quit in anything I do. I got to be persistent. If I've been playing and I can't beat a boss, I can't overcome this obstacle, it's like I might get frustrated for a while. I might even have to go in the kitchen, take a 30-minute break, eat some lunch, get some water, maybe get a quick pump on, something like that, get it out of the system, and guess what? We're right back to the problem. We're right back to it, conquering. Persistent until we win. Les Brown has one of the best damn videos, and it's on YouTube. It was filmed in the Georgia Dome, and it's called "It's Not Over Until I Win." And he talks about how his son and him were playing Connect Four, and Les Brown beat his son in like 11 games straight. And Les Brown's like, "Man, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed." And his son looks at him in the eyes and he says, "It's not over until I win." Persistence. And that's all it is. It's not over until we win. And the more clear we are, the more we know the more we know the problem that we have to solve, and the more solution options we can provide to get the right one. It's just like picking a lock. All you got to do is get the right combination and clink, you're in. You're in the safe. You opened it. And there's a lot of gold in that safe, I promise. There's a lot of gold in that mind. There's a lot of gold in your heart. But you got to start picking the combination. You got to start clicking it. You got to start hearing it. You got to start understanding how to utilize and how to move the turntables of the safe. But that's chapter 2, guys. Or chapter 1, I apologize. A definite chief aim. The introduction was the mastermind. And as always, we're going to be opening up a gym. If you guys would like to donate towards that gym, where we're going to be working with young men to help educate them on how to get their testosterone out, how to get the negative emotions out and the anger like I used to have when I was growing. And before I had these tools to be able to help me build a foundation to be able to become a better alpha servant leader. We're going to be working with young men to become those and really change the game of what we feel that masculinity has been attacked in the past 10 years, and developing young men to be alpha servant leaders through, again, MMA, through emotional tools, through mental understanding and success principles, and just multiple outlets, health guidance, and multiple different things to be able to help them. If you want to donate to that, feel free. I'll leave a link in the comments below. Never feel obligated. This is for you guys, and it also helps me learn just as much by teaching. So thank you guys so much for all the support, all the love, and stay winning, everybody. We'll see you guys next Friday. Let's see.